Yes, guys, welcome back to another stream. We've got another panel show for you. Hopefully, you guys are all doing well. Make sure you guys are smashing up the likes. Make sure you guys are subscribing to the channel as well if you're new. Loads of stuff to discuss tonight, man. We're going to be discussing yesterday's game, Liverpool as well. We've been underestimating Liverpool. Maybe we have. We'll discuss them. And, of course, the next two games, if you consider Arsenal in the equation here, is absolutely huge. Hopefully, you guys are doing well. Make sure you guys are smashing up the likes. Make sure you're subscribing as well. We got Joey and Move. We got them both from the noise. We decided to secure the whole package. Usually, we only get 50%, but today the expenses went further, so we got them both. Pulp is back on the show again. We got Joe and obviously Pat from Mancunian Way. So cheers for joining us, fellas. Joey, man, let me come to you straight away. How impressed have you been with City so far this season? I know it's only a couple of games we've played, but like for me personally, I think we've started like on fire, and the performance level is way above my expectation. What are you saying?
Yeah, man. It's a little different from what we're used to. I feel like we've started pretty slow the last few years, and then preseason we ramped up as we got closer to the beginning of the season. We started looking a little bit better, and then it just seems like we've hit the ground running. Pep seems to have a system in place that's working really well. He's made maybe some brave choices in terms of who remains in the side every week so far, just to make sure that system does work well. Haaland's fit and firing again finally. Savinho looks great. Kovacic in the 6 has been unreal. Just great start. I mean, probably better than I thought it would have been, since we were going to be without Rodri and who knows how many of the English boys, you know?
Do you? Because I've been saying, right, I think this team looks really balanced. Yeah, really. I know it's, and again, I know it's only 3 games before people in the chat start trying to cook me. But like, do you like think that that's true? Do you think that, like, from the limited evidence that we've got, do you think that do you think we do look more balanced?
Yeah,
I think we do, bro.
Do you know why that is? Because we finally have a right side again.
Yeah.
the right side of the pitch has come alive. Like, mainly down to Rico Lewis, but also, you know, how he links up with players that are on that right side, including Savinho, Oscar Bob before he got injured. The link up, the dynamics that Rico Lewis gives you in the side are it's night and day to what we had before. So I think when Joey was talking about like brave choices, I think Rico Lewis at first might have been a brave choice, but he's not anymore. He's the choice. So that, I think you're saying we're balanced, LB, because, you know, on both sides of the pitch now we have competent build up and link up.
Yeah, no, I definitely think so. And you know, there's been obviously, you know, and I know the whole Kyle Walker thing is like very divisive, and you've got people like Joe who are like happy that Rico Lewis is there, and would be happy if maybe Walker even left. But I definitely think that Rico Lewis adds so much to our game in build up. And I've said personally, I think there will be a time this season where I'd probably throw Walker back in. Maybe it's just for a couple of games, maybe for one. I don't know, but like I personally still think it's good that Walker's here. But right now, Rico Lewis, what he's giving us going forward in our build-up play, driving forward and being that extra midfielder, causing a bit of chaos towards the top end, it's night and day to what you get with Kyle Walker. And this whole thing about, oh yeah, but defensively he ain't that good. Well, first of all, I personally think that's a bit of a myth, to be honest with you. I don't know where that's really come from. There's been no evidence that I've ever seen from Rico Lewis whilst he's played for this club that he's a bad defender. But we've not even, you know, when he has had to defend, he's been fine. But we've not really had to do much defending anyway, personally. So, yeah, I definitely think that the Rico Lewis thing is massive. I'll come to you on that, Joe, because I know you like this whole right-back thing as well.
Yeah, I think it's just as simple as Rico Lewis is a better footballer than Kyle Walker. Like, it's just it just comes down to that. And I think that, as you say, what he offers going forward. I mean, I think Pep mentioned it after the Ipswich game, where it was just a case of like, this guy's just like always available on the pitch no matter what. And we were kind of I was kind of looking out for it a little bit yesterday off the back of that, because, you know, just whenever someone's got the ball, wherever it is on the pitch, but obviously mainly down that right hand side, if they're wherever they are, Rico Lewis is 9 times out of 10 an option for them to pass to, and he's not really got anyone near him. And I think what else he does is that, and this is. So last year we had Walker mainly using him as almost like, I mean, at times it was almost like a right winger the way that it was being used, just sort of staying really wide and just like attacking the byline basically, which is which for me is, you know, fine for a fullback to be expected to do that as long as they're actually half decent at doing that final third bit once they get to the byline, which unfortunately Walker, I think even his staunchest defenders can say that he isn't. But what Rico Lewis does instead is he's really good at that sort of that underlapping run. I think we saw it a couple of times yesterday where, you know, Bernardo was like out a bit, maybe a bit further to the right, or whoever it was out a bit further there. And Lewis is just relatively central, spots a gap between two defenders, and he just knows when to attack that space to go into, and gives whoever's on the right wing an easy sort of pass into their penalty area to play through. And, you know, we could have scored from that a couple of times. And that's not just whether he's a good right back or a good football. That's just like him having intelligence on the football pitch that I reckon is probably way above most of the squad, let alone the alternative we have at right back.
I agree.
So currently, it's, as Mulv said, it's not for me. It's not even a choice anymore. There is no choice. Like Walker is a guy who you can bring in as an athlete for certain games, but until Rico Lewis starts dropping some really shit performances back to back, which I don't really see happening anytime soon.
No, I don't.
There's no way that he should be dropped for me.
Yeah. Nah, facts, man. And you know what the thing is, so I would say about Rico Lewis, I do feel like some of our fans are waiting for him to just drop a stinker. You know what I mean? Like, I always see it, and it's like, we can't rely on him. It's like, when has he ever really played badly for this team? And, like, you've got to put your faith in him. At the end of the day, that I agree with Joe, man. I think his football, like, intelligence, IQ, whatever you want to call it, is at a mad high level. And I think it's massively underappreciated just how good that is. And you know what as well, and I know this for a fact as well, because after every game I did a play ratings, I go through the stats. He's improving on like passing and shit, because last year and in his first year, there were so many times when he used to just give the ball away cheaply or overrun it and that. And I remember like looking at his passing stats after the game when I did the play ratings. And now, constantly, chat will back me up because I do the play ratings, he's in the 90% every single time. He's up there, like not as quite as high as Rodri and like Kovacic normally are, but he's like 90, 89%. And that's massively gone up from last year and even the year before when there was sometimes when he give the ball away. So that comes from composure, because he probably feels now part of the team. You know, when you throw like an 18-year-old or however old he was when he first got thrown, he's probably a bit like starstruck and he got a bit nervous. Now, you see him like driving forward with the ball. He's getting on the ball. I'm constantly saying Rico's name when I'm doing the watch-alongs because he's got the ball all the time. I just personally think that like if he can just, like Joe says, as long as he doesn't have any clangers, I think he could be in this team now, and it's going to be very difficult for Walker to get the spot back. Pulpy, come to you, man, before I come to Pat.
I think there's an important point to make about Rico Lewis, and it's kind of when we play with Walker, we rely on his pace to cover behind the back, and we're always susceptible to these long balls because we're so far out the pitch. Whereas when Lewis is playing, we don't really have somebody who's lightning at the back, so we kind of don't overcommit. And that makes us, I think that's made us a lot more solid at the start of the season. Whereas when you're in Walker, you know that in the back of all their minds, you know, if there's a ball going over the back, Walker's got the pace to catch up. So they kind of, I think there's maybe like a 2% drop off in the mind that you think, well, if it goes over the top and we can't get it, Walker can. Whereas when Lewis is playing, they've always got to be on it saying, look, we cannot afford to go in behind. So I think it kind of solidifies the whole back four by having Lewis in there. I don't know what you guys think about that.
I think that comes down to Lewis being, as you mentioned with the passing stats there, like Lewis is just so much more. Whether or not the team do drop off a little bit, knowing that insurance policy is there with Walker, I think it's just Lewis is just a more like reliable player to have on the pitch when it comes to that. Like you aren't turning over the ball as much because you've got effectively a fourth midfielder in the middle of the pitch who, and as you say about those passing stats as well, like they're not like little, like, you know, they're not two centre backs passing between each other. He's in the final third making some pretty, you know, line breaking passes and stuff like that. He's doing really well. So I think having as much as you're probably right, there is probably an element of, well, we can push higher up because ultimately our high line is covered by this, you know, athletic freak who can run back in the other direction. Like there is also a case of, well, when we have another footballer on the pitch, like we can we don't have to commit as high, but we're also not going to turn over the ball anywhere near as much because we've got another footballer in that area where you're going to lose it.
Maybe I'm just on a different side of the internet. Are there that many Rico haters out there?
No,
Like
no,
I don't see it. Like
No,
it never
it's
shows
not.
up in
It's
our
not.
replies
No,
or anything.
no.
Like,
Haters is not the right word. Doubters. There's a lot of Rico Lewis doubters who are insistent that at some point he's just going to absolutely drop like terrible.
Some people see a defender who's shorter than 6 foot and think that guy can't defend. Like, there's no way he's not going to get bullied off
right,
the ball.
because those guys have never existed.
Yeah, they don't fit a certain mold of what a stereotypical defender is. Yeah,
yeah. But yeah, I wouldn't say it's haters, Joe. That's not the right word.
Yeah.
It's more doubters who are waiting for, they believe, the inevitable. He's going to get cooked. You know what I mean? And I would just say, like, genuinely, I don't recall a game he's played in 3 years where he's been poor.
Yeah, no, that's just wild to me. We all watch him. Like, we see what he does in one game, he'll play 5 different positions just based on where he'll end up on the pitch, right?
Yeah.
He's at right back. He's one of the 6s. He's an 8. He's a 10. He's out on the wing. He's on the other side of the pitch for some reason as like a left wing. Like, I don't understand how you can watch a guy his age with his ability and work ethic and everything that goes into it and just expect like, oh, well, it's coming. He's going to shit the bed here pretty soon.
So
and I'll be proven right on the internet. I'll be proven right to everyone.
People want to be the first to say, I told you so.
Yeah.
I'll be the first guy, and here's my big statement.
It took 10 days longer than I was anticipating to happen, but it's happened.
They'll be the
here we go.
ones retweeting
Rico
themselves.
drops a clanger.
Like 7 years ago when I was tweeted this when he was 15, like, come on.
No, that's actually so true, man. Pat, do you want to add it? Oh, go on.
Oh, sorry, no, I was just going to say, just sort of piggybacking off what Joey was saying there about like the number of positions he plays. It's watching Pep work with Rico. I bet Pep's thinking this is like what it would have been like if I had Philip Lahm when he was 18, 19 years old. Like what he can do is you know, time will tell whether his career ends up as with him being as good as Philip Lahm was, but with his sort of versatility in the where he can play like all over the pitch and the intelligence to do it, like this, he is literally as close to that as Pep will probably ever work with from now.
He doesn't look out of place though, does he? Like he all down the right side is fine, but when he pops up in the box, you're not thinking, "Oh my God, he's a defender here. What's going to do?" You just know he's got the link-up play. He's got the vision. He can finish. Yeah. You know, he could literally play anywhere on the pitch.
Do you guys think some people just like pigeonhole him? Because do you think some people Do you think some people see that he's listed as a right back, and that's what they get tied up on instead of paying attention to what he actually does?
But my response to that would be hang on a minute, mate. Yeah, we had Fabian Delph as a left back. We had Zinchenko as a left back. We've had Ake as a left back. We've had Gvardiol as a left back.
Yeah,
you know, this is a manager that doesn't play players in their natural positions, and he's not done that ever since he's been here. So, like, we should be kind of used to players playing out.
Absolutely, we should.
I remember Pep's first season. Pep's first season, he had Fernandinho at points being played right back, and he had Kolarov playing centre back.
You mean the best center back he's ever seen?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. You took the words right out of my mouth, Joey.
He started the Jesus Navas right back renaissance, didn't it, for his career?
Extended that man's career.
Yeah. The one true Jesus.
He did, yeah. He did, absolutely. Nah, it's pretty mad, man. It's pretty mad. Pat, sorry, did you want to say anything else on this before we move on?
Yeah, just a couple of things just about the start of the season. But firstly, just adding on to what you said about what we were saying about Rico Lewis. And it's always a fun discussion, but I did see somebody post online about saying if there's a better way to try and describe what Rico Lewis is at City right now, he's probably what you could call a prime false 2.
Oh, are we doing?
Because he's a number 2. He plays it right back in everything except for the bloody position. The man is just an absolute utility. You know, Swiss Army knife. And he comes from Prestwich. That's all.
Just something quick, Pat.
Yeah.
I've been really impressed with his back post marking. Like
when
he is, when he is playing a number 2, which is very rare, like you said, Pat, he does really well at the back post. So
and that's not Kyle Walker's weakness, by the way. That's not a strength of Kyle. That's one of his defensive flaws. And yeah, you are right there, Moore.
Yeah. And and the other thing that I love the most too about this season coming up as well is Rico's going to get another couple of seasons of someone like Gundogan taking him under his wing as well too, because he's going to learn even as much about being a proper well-rounded midfielder as he did when he's trying to learn the ways of being like a proper right back under Kyle Walker. So he's got so much experience and knowledge there, and just absolute consummate professionals around him all the time that you can tell from the last 2 seasons that he just absorbs everything around him. And he's not throwing toys out the pram. He's not saying, I want to go on loan and play 50 games a season, things like that. He's willing to get in there and just take everything for what it is, and try and make something of himself where the kid could start creating a legacy for himself before he's barely 21. And what we're enjoying now is we're enjoying the riches of a young player who's just learning everything and just taking everything in his stride. And it's only going to fill us with so much more positivity to know, if he's doing this now at 19, imagine what he's going to be like at 25, 26 years of age.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be special. It's going to be really, really special. But just add on what everybody said about the start of the season. Look, couldn't be happier. Very small sample size. And I always try to take, the start of the season with a pinch of salt, because I think, under Pep and our squad, there's no other team in football that's better at playing every 3 days. Well, every 7 days, it can, it can take time for players to get into their stride. But I think the big thing, the most crucial thing as to why we've started off with this nice little sort of rich vein of form, you might say, for a small sample size, is we've got Haaland, Rico, and Kovacic, all probably the 3 best players on the field for the last 3 games. Those 3 players, those 3 are the most senior squad members, bar Oscar Bob with his injury. They're the 3 most senior squad members that have had the most game time and the most, most game time with preseason and that too. So they've taken all that momentum, all that form from preseason, and they've just run with it for these 3 games.
And Pat, we actually had a decent preseason, which is what I've been saying for the last couple of years. When we've had poor preseasons, like one of the seasons, I think we played like 2 games or something like that, and it was
one and 3 quarters. Yeah, I think jumping.
Yeah, it was a disaster. Whereas this year we've actually played. Did we play 4 games plus the Community Shield? So effectively 5 preseason games.
USA.
We look,
not to mention as well that Haaland and Rico obviously didn't go to the summer tournaments, did they? So but they actually both genuinely had a summer off, which I think for Haaland,
nor did Grealish or Bob, who looked sharp in preseason.
I just feel like that the players that stand out the most are the ones that have had the most game time and probably shone the most in preseason. It's almost like we've got a form core, if you want to call it that, for lack of a better word. So you just got that. You got obviously Haaland just bagging goals, and then you got a nice little core midfield of Rico and Kovacic just leading the way and just taking all that momentum, and the rest of the team is just feeding off it. So 100%. Very, very happy for a small sample size.
100%, man. 100%. You mentioned Kovacic there. I do want to come on to that, but just before we do, guys, make sure you are smashing up the likes. Over 400 people tuned in right now. Let's get those likes up a little bit. Make sure you are subscribing to the channel as well. Andrew says, old Salah owes us big time, 15 goals in 14 games. That's why I never wrote Liverpool off, bro, because, Salah's just a freak and he'll get you better goals. So you will definitely finish in the top. I think you'll finish 2nd or 3rd, personally. We'll come on to that in a little bit. We'll talk about title rivals. Liverpool looking very good. Can't lie. 3 clean sheets, 3 W's. Again, looking very impressive. We'll come on to our title rivals a little bit later on. Don't worry, guys. And Cool Guy says, big up the panel. Last season, we lost the games when Rodri did not play, but now we won 3 games without him. Imagine once he comes back. And this is where I want to come on to. I want to speak about Kovacic, Gundogan as well, because he can obviously play this role. How do you guys feel that we've done without Rodri so far? Obviously, we've won the games, but more generally, how do you think we've actually handled that sort of DM situation? Because for me, I'll tell you my thoughts against Chelsea. I did feel like the first half were a little bit open until Bernardo come back in the second half. I did feel like, obviously, the goal that we conceded against Ipswich, again, it was a little bit open. But I don't care, because I'm not looking for perfection when Rodri's not there. I'm looking, can we get away with it? Can we win the game? You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, we needed to sign Bruno G. Can we get away with winning games? Don't have to be perfection without Rodri. I'll just throw it out to the panel. I don't know who wants to take it. But thoughts on the sort of DM situation, how Kovacic is done. Who wants to take that one?
Yeah, so far so good. Like you said, it's not going to be perfect. And you can't go into it thinking that anyone's going to play that position exactly the way Rodri does, because nobody on the planet can. And you can't expect that from anybody. Even if it's Gundogan or if it's Kovacic or whoever, it doesn't matter. No one's going to play it like Rodri. But to get through 3 matches, we've only conceded 1 goal that was scored by the other team. That's decent. See ya, LB.
It's been a pleasure.
Bye.
Anyway, welcome to the noisy pod.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm just pleased with it. It's a good. I think it's a good omen going forward, knowing that if we're playing matches against a club that we don't necessarily need Rodri for, if we can get Rodri those breaks, and we know we can put Kovacic in or we can put Gundogan there, doesn't matter who, that we can still play the way that we'd like to play. We can still defend right. We can attack well, and there's not really any concerns. Because I don't remember at any point during the 3 matches we've played so far in the season that I was thinking, well, we're getting overrun here. You know, especially for like long stretches of time. I don't remember any point yet that I looked at City and said, we've got to switch something in that midfield. This is off. Something needs to change. So far, so good. And with Rodri returning after the international break, I'm assuming, as we get into some pretty meaty matchups, I think it's kind of a perfect time because you know what you've got behind him, and then you know the main man's coming in.
I think there was like a 2 minute, maybe 5 minutes yesterday against West Ham, where they was all over us, you know, in the midfield, and Kovacic was up the end of the pitch and we're getting caught out. That's where Rodri sits in there, and that just doesn't happen.
Yeah,
you know, but if that's 5 minutes out of a 90-minute game, then you know we can, for the other 85 minutes.
That's the thing.
Yeah, I'll take that. You know, because I'd back us all day long to be able to control the game, whether Rodri played or not. The good thing is that we've been able to show that without him, in the greatest possible sense, we've not missed him. Really,
and we're lucky too because he's only playing
2-3 years. When he didn't play, we was all literally crapping ourselves. Right, we knew we was in trouble if we was up against it when Rodri wasn't there.
Yeah,
and that he's not been there for his first 3 games, and we haven't really noticed in a way in terms of football, in terms that he's not been there. We've just been able to take over with it if it was to go to the end of the season, Rodri didn't play another game, and we can played like this. You know, I still think we'll be good enough to win the league. So that's a testament to how we developed for this first 3 games without playing with him at all.
I think in a weird way, Pep might actually be a little bit kind of happy to have had these first few games without him, so that he can. Because I think if there's any point of the season where you don't want to have one of your most important players, it's probably the first few games where like every other club is kind of finding their own feet as well, and you're not coming up against, you know, last time when we had it, we were coming up against Arsenal, weren't we, when we didn't have Rodri?
Yep.
And you know what I mean, like that's like the worst fixture that you can possibly come into, like Arsenal in form, like without your best player. I think doing it now, where even when we played against Chelsea, like looking at how Chelsea have been attacking this last couple of weeks, like we played them at pretty much the best time to have played them, when they were still, you know, shite at passing out from the back, basically. We were able to sort of capitalise on that, and not having Rodri didn't really affect us there. Whereas obviously, you know, if we're looking at playing that game, I don't know, December time with no Rodri, then maybe we're looking at that game in a much different sort of way, aren't we? But I think in a way Pep might be quite sort of pleased to have had this sort of not a practice run, but you know what I mean. It's like the team now, because of these first few games, knows how to set up without him, and we'll probably see a pretty similar. You know, if touch wood, the worst does happen and Rodri is out for a couple, even if it's just one game with like the yellow cards he accumulates or something like that. We know that we aren't doomed to lose like it felt like we were every time that he wasn't there last season. And obviously the only games that we lost last season were ones where Rodri didn't play. So the fact that we're starting the season with 3 games where he hasn't played and we haven't lost any of them is, should be pretty. The rest of the league should be looking at that and being pretty terrified.
And as well, Joey, just to add on to sort of like what you said about Pep being happy about this, is like we've actually managed to give Rodri like a proper rest, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, just because he's injured doesn't mean he's not resting. He is resting.
And Spain have 2 internationals. He can only play in 1. So,
and you know what as well, Pat? I changed my mind on that. I actually want him to play for Spain in that second game. Just like 60 minutes or something. Get some minutes into him. Then he can come back for the Brentford game, so he's not cold for Brentford. And then he plays that Brentford game. By the time we then play that, in fact, we've got a Champions League game before the Arsenal game.
Yeah, Inter.
Right?
Yep.
Inter. So I don't know what you do there. Did you play? I personally wouldn't play him against Inter Milan. I think I'd play him against Brentford. I'd probably rest him against Inter Milan and then I'd play him against Arsenal. And then he's got
to play against Inter just so he can give the fans
I think
more
if
nightmares.
there's any game that he's going to play, it's going to be Inter in it. Pep will put his strongest team out to kill off that Champions League.
Do you think so? Though? I don't know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't approach it like
you
that.
need your best against Italian teams. I know they're not as strong as they used to be 20 years ago, but
one of
the main things Italian clubs have always been is they're always really hard to break down. They always try to kill tempo. They try to create their own tempo. I think you need your best players out there to play against them. They're always difficult. Always difficult in Europe.
I'd rotate heavy.
I just think, but I think that's just not what Pep's going to do, is it? Pep in the Champions League does not he doesn't go right. This is the
he won't. He wouldn't do that.
Yeah, exactly. So ultimately, we're going to see Rodri start against Inter because it's going to be strongest 11 against Inter and then strongest 11 against.
So what do you do then? Do you play him against Brentford as well?
I'd probably rest him against Brentford for that reason, to be honest. Bring him.
So rest against Brentford. So play for Spain, rest against Brentford, play Italy, and then play Arsenal.
Yeah, into then Arsenal, then
and Newcastle after that.
It's just a season as normal after that, and you just got to have him. We're back to Rodri playing every week after that, basically.
Yeah.
Do you know what I like about him going off to play for Spain? Is that he's actually going there to go and be Rodri. You know what I mean? He's going into a system that's very similar to the one we play. What it's not like is when Phil Foden goes to play for England, and has to play on the left wing, right? And learn from a Gareth Southgate or whatever, and come back with his brain frazzle.
That's always better than going there to be Kukureya.
No,
let's not go there.
No, I know what you mean, Omar. It's like a smooth transition, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Well,
on Rodri, so there's that Brentford match, and then Inter, Arsenal, Newcastle, and then Slovan Bratislava.
Right.
I think you play Rodri in those three big ones. You rest him against Slovan Bratislava. I don't think we need Rodri for that.
Definitely losing now.
I know. True. That's 6-0 Bratislava.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you can still manage Rodri even with playing him in those three huge matches. I mean, it's Bratislava and then it's Fulham at home.
Yeah.
I think there's plenty of time there to give him a break.
I'm cool with that.
I think we should, but I just don't think we will. I think once, whichever, whether it's Brentford or Inter, whichever first game it is that Rodri plays, like Rodri is just locked into the 11 then until he gets injured or
he's in for the rest
suspended.
of the season unless he's got suspension.
Well, as soon as Brentford kicks off, we go into three matches every 3 days. So you're gonna need Rodri at his prime because I'd be ready to get him going and then maybe rest him later in the month when we play Watford. So we'll see.
Here's the thing that I think we need to start doing that we've not done before is now we've played Kovacic in this DM position and we think he's all right at doing it, and we've got Gundogan. We've not spoken about Gundogan; he can do it as well. We need to start subbing Rodri off because we never do that. If you actually look at Rodri on like his transfer marks, it's always 90. He never gets subbed off even when we're like with 3-0 up. And you know what I mean? Now we've got Kovacic, who we think we can, obviously after 3 games, we think he can do it. And you got Gundogan, and we know he can do it because we've seen him do it before. We need to now be taking Rodri off, subbing him off with those 20 minutes to go. Because I'm telling you, over the course of a season, knocking 20 minutes off every game, if not every game, but like as many games as you can over the course of the season, it does have its impact 100%.
Yeah.
The problem is he was trying it, and he tried it once, and we almost lost the match. So
yeah, but that's because
I'm not going to name any. Oh, okay, you're going to name the names. Okay.
I'll name it. Yeah, that's the truth, don't it? You know what I mean? If that was Kovacic or Gundogan, it'd be fine.
Yeah. I think that's it. We've got Kovacic now, who's showing that he is good enough. I mean, if you think Stones might come back into the squad at some point, who can kind of push into that midfield bit as well. I think. We are still. It's weird to think that we are still like actually 2 or 3 players away from having what a lot of us would consider our strongest 11, like fully back at this point. So I think if you're just taking Rodri out for the last 15, 20 minutes, and also I imagine that really we'll probably only do that when we're a few, at least probably like 3 goals up. Really,
I think it has to be 3. I don't think he'll do it on 2. It'll be 3, right?
No, I don't think he'll do it on 2 either. So yeah, 3. Yeah, three goals up, last 15, 20 minutes, like Rodri can come off and we know that, again, touch wood, that we aren't going to just chuck the game away.
The way Haaland's going on, though, I think we'll be 3-0 up in a lot of games this season. I mean, he's already ahead of his record-breaking first season when he broke all Premier League records. He's already ahead of where he was then by, I think, 2 or 3 goals. So, it's insane. It's insane. Listen, I want to speak about sort of our title rivals and the next 2 games because that is absolutely huge. But I've got a couple of super chats here. Guys, make sure you are smashing up the likes. We've got over 450 people locked in now. Let's get those likes to 200. We're 15 people away from 200 likes, guys. So hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you guys are subbing as well to Noisy Pod and Mancunian Way and every single podcast that Joe goes on. Big up to
The Raheem Sterling of podcasters.
I'm on the time, so sorry, Joe. I can't name every single one of them. Big up to Tone says, evening all, lovely noisy pod, regular listener on the way to work, class panel, all top blues. Have a great show, lads, and congrats LB on 20k. Big up to you, man. Appreciate that. Then we have some weird super chats coming in. David Robertson is the worst village councillor. Getting the village toilets was my peak moment in life. Things can only go down from here. Christine's not getting younger either. I don't know who this person is.
No, he's right on this.
Yeah, I don't know who it is. I don't know what
I live in that village. This guy stinks.
Oh, okay. I literally have no idea what it is. The guy sent something. I don't know what he's talking about, bro. I don't know what he's talking about, bro. But thanks for saying 20k in it. Right. Before we speak about title rivals, yeah. Haaland front line, Kevin De Bruyne, Grealish, Doku. What we're saying about our front line, guys, because it seems very, very clinical. Haaland, obviously, off to an absolute flyer. Grealish obviously come back in yesterday because Savinho was out. I thought played quite well, personally. I know people might say he didn't, but I thought he played quite well. Doku went out on the right-hand side. Do we think he can play right-hand side? A lot of City fans say, no, he can't. He's only a left winger. Pulpy, let me come on to you. Our attack. What's your views on how that's been going out this season?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of Doku, going straight with Doku, he's definitely more effective on the left, but I still think like nobody wants to play. Nobody's going to want to deal with speed on this side of the pitch. You know, straight away, it's like, look, he might not be as effective in terms of like getting assists and stuff, but what he does by, like I said, I mentioned last time, on like the stretching of we can stretch teams now we've never been able to stretching before. You know, we have that dynamic thing of all down every single flank rather than it used to be down the middle or down the left. So yeah, I think in terms of the attack, I mean, I don't think I've seen Kevin De Bruyne look so comfortable in the last couple of games. Just
no, man.
It's just like he's playing at 70%, and he's just like it's like he's playing on the park on a Sunday. Yeah. Everything's just slow and to perfection, and yeah, I think he. I know he went to Euros, but it feels like he's feel like he's come back energized.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it feels like I feel like he's now got sort of like his chest's out, and he's like, I'm having it. You know what I mean? I'm here for this. Let's go again. Yeah.
Well, I predicted he'll be our player of the season. Obviously, Haaland's probably going to get it, but like, you know what? It's got that bad now. Yeah, when I'm doing my play ratings, I have to do excluding Haaland Man of the Match awards because otherwise I just give it Haaland every week. You know what I mean? The way he's going. So I have two separate awards. Move. Do you want to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to say one thing I've learned is you have to be very careful about saying players can't do things. Like you said, people saying Doku can't play on the right. I've learned this more recently with Bernardo, but my first instance of it was thinking that Ruben Diaz couldn't be a ball-playing centre-back. And then we had the treble season where he was incredible at it in terms of building out of the back. Because I always wondered, like, is he the best one to be in the middle of the back as we build up? Or should it be a Stones or a Kanji even? You know, but that season he proved that something I thought he couldn't do, he absolutely can. And we need to remember that these players, you know, their levels go up and down, and they're capable of amazing things. The more recent one for me is I was on record saying Bernardo wasn't creative centrally, right? Well, look at the first 3 games of the season. I don't know how many assists he's got. It's at least 2, but he's been very creative centrally. So I just want to warn people: be careful about saying that these players that Pep's signed can't do certain things, because you're often made look to be a fool.
Yeah.
Can I say that? Can I say that I'm not saying Doku can't do this, but we saw it a few times, quite a lot yesterday as well. Like it's just really frustrating seeing the ball. I think it's because it contrasts so much with what Grealish does on the other side, and I think LB, your chat just knows me as like the Grealish guy at this point, because like I constantly go on about how like if there is a Grealish v Doku war, I know which side I'm on. Put it that way. I think that what Grealish did on the other side, and we saw it with the second goal, really, is that like he has this reputation now, Grealish, for sort of literally just being like a safety first, pass it backwards and sideways guy. But we saw with the second goal that it actually was started by Grealish running into their box, like attacking their defenders, but then getting his head up in the box and making a pretty calm, sensible decision and just passing it inwards, and then it found its way to Rico, who then passed it to Haaland, and then it was a goal. And that all came from Grealish kind of, you know, taking his time when he got to the box and making that decision. And I think with Doku, and I think that this is it's kind of a byproduct of just being a fast, pacey, byline attacking winger, really, that this might be to some extent impossible to really legislate for. But you just see him get the ball at the edge of the penalty area, and you just know that he's just going to get he's just kicking it into the box and just sort of hoping that something comes out of it at the end of it. I don't feel like a lot of what he does is purposeful. I feel like it's just, right, I need to get this into the box. And sometimes he'll do like a lofted cross. Sometimes he'll drill it in. Sometimes he'll try a cutback pass. But the number of times that we turn the ball over as a result of him doing that, whereas Grealish, what he does is a lot more safe, and I therefore prefer that because I don't like seeing us like turn over the ball an awful lot. I just feel like, it's the Doku thing's been done to death. I think it's just a frustrating thing to see a lot, and I think when you've got Grealish on the other side, who's bringing you some of the good stuff that Doku does, but also kind of the safety first, like ultimately let's keep the ball side of things as well.
Yeah,
I'd be really interested to know that if Savio was fit, what would the winger combination have been if he was available? Like I'd like to think that when Savio's back, Grealish and Savio might be seen a little bit more going further into the season.
I think Savio will likely play. Here's the thing with Doku, because I agree, obviously, but the thing is, I'd also say is Doku, it creates more of that balls into the box because he takes on his man more than Grealish, and I agree that therefore he's gonna get like a lower accuracy on the crosses, but like I do feel a little bit sorry for him because he should have had an assist last week when he gave it to Rico Lewis and he blasted it over the bar.
Mm-hmm.
Really, Kevin De Bruyne should have stuck that one in the net when he hit the post as well. So I feel a little bit sorry for Jamie Doku, and I feel like he gets a little bit too much stick. And I feel that like whilst Joel's right, what you're saying about like when he gets the ball and he's drilling it in, and we lose a lot of the possession there. So long as we're winning the ball back quite quickly high up the pitch, which we usually do because we've got so many players pressing up, I think Pep's just willing to take the risk. Otherwise, I don't think he'd play. So I don't know, man. I'm still not in the camp of Jamie Doku can't play right wing. I know there's a lot of people out there who are in that camp who think he's a left winger only, but I'm still willing to give him a chance. I mean, he's played most of his football on the right wing for his previous club.
I think one of his strengths is his unpredictability, and we can't have two people on the same side that do the same stuff up and down and cut inside. Yeah. I think the way Doku plays is just, I'll get the ball and run here. I'll take him, and if I can get in, I'll do something. Sometimes his crosses don't work out. Sometimes they do. But having that sort of player who's just so direct, just I say stretching the teams all the time. We get down the pitch and he can just put a cross in, don't come in, but we put the second balls up. But having that unpredictability is a massive plus point for us.
Well, do you not think that we have to have, not that we have to, but if we're going to be, if we're not going to push like Vardiol as high, and we're not going to push Rico as high and wide as Kyle was playing last year, that width has to come from somewhere, right? And if you want it high up the pitch, if Savio's on the right, he's going to cut in. I think we've seen that already. We know that. That's fine. He's good at it. Let him do it. And it's the same with Grealish on the other side. He's right-footed. He's going to cut in. If you want width on the right, and you want someone to beat their man and give, even if it's not giving Haaland a chance, if it's just putting a ball into a dangerous area, Doku is probably the right or the best guy on the right to do that. If he's just going to receive the ball, be direct, and put something in, I'm not too concerned about accuracy in terms of the crosses because we know they're going to have 4 around Haaland. Just get the ball near him and see what happens.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think, again, it's about like just creating something out of nothing.
Yeah.
I would say, though, Savio against Chelsea, he did actually go to the byline quite a lot. He didn't cut in all the time against Cucurella. He just knocked it past him and ran. So, you've got, I keep saying this, the fact is now, Pep has options on the wing. You know what I mean? And he's got different things. Like last year, obviously we had Doku, but he was in and out of the team because he was new. We didn't really have anything different. You know what I mean? We had Grealish on the left, who's obviously didn't play a lot, but obviously he's just one dimensional. And then you've got Bernardo on the right. And we didn't have anything else. Now we've got Doku, obviously it's his second season. You've got Savio can kind of do a bit of everything. Doku's like this take-on merchant. Grealish is you sort of like more controlled, slower, and pass accuracy. I'm not losing the ball. And obviously you've still got Oscar Bob, who again probably has a little bit of everything in. So I just think that like I'm just buzzing that we have different options. And some games Doku will be needed, some games Grealish will be needed. Like for example, I would say this perfect example: Bernabeu away. Yeah, who you playing, Doku or Grealish? I mean, I'm sorry, I'm picking Grealish
Bernardo.
every single. Well, yeah, you'll play. But on the left hand side, I'd play Grealish because it's like it's the Bernabeu. You don't want to be doing it. You want to be turning over the game. You played Ipswich Town at home. Maybe you've got the freedom to play a Doku who can just take on men. So yeah, that's where I'm at with that. Haaland, though, we've got to speak about Haaland, lads. I mean, he's on 7 goals in 3 Premier League games. I mean, this guy's an absolute joker. He's already, I think, 60th or 68th top Premier League goal scorer of all time, which is kind of freaky. He's on the current goal scoring rate. He will overtake Alan Shearer in 5.8 seasons.
I thought you were going to say months.
It's kind of crazy. His average hat trick per game has now gone down to 9. So he's now in single figure digits for hat trick per games. Yeah. I mean, this guy.
That stat for his hat tricks. Like you see it when he's like Thierry Henry got 10 hat tricks in 260 games, and like you've got Haaland on 10 hat tricks in 62 games, whatever it is. He's mad. Yeah. It's like he's playing things like he's playing a football game on like a lower difficulty, right?
Yeah.
Well, he only needs 4 more to equal Sergio.
Yeah. He could get that. He could quite considerably get that before Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I was going to say end of the season, but I'll go with that.
Yeah. You know about the let me see if I can bring it up. I think I did a tweet about it the other day. You know, when you look at like the hat tricks per games, yeah, it's like you've got all these players, and then you've got Sergio Aguero, and Sergio Aguero's record is a joke. When you look at Sergio Aguero, he's like, oh my god, that's a joke. You're thinking he's amazing, and then you look at Haaland, and you're like, what the freak is going on? Like, it's not normal.
When I was on your show the other day, waxing lyrical about Haaland after I think it was Ipswich. I think we said it was 23 games between hat tricks for Aguero, and Haaland's on 10. So you're looking at something along the lines of basically, in terms of ruthlessness, basically this rate, Erling Haaland is 2.5 times more ruthless a striker than Aguero is.
Yeah, I mean, look at the names that are on this list, right? And obviously, some of the younger guys in the chat may not seen this. Let me tell you now, Michael Owen is one of the greatest strikers I've seen. He was unbelievable. Thierry Henry, arguably one of the greatest players that's ever played in this league. Aguero, we all know about him. And this is what I mean. If you look at Aguero's hat tricks, 12 hat tricks in 275 games. When you look at the other names on the list, that looks pretty freaky. And then you look at Haaland, 8 hat tricks in 69 games. What is going on?
Nice.
We like that.
It's not normal, man. And like, I'm looking at it now and I'm thinking, how many goals is this guy going to score this season? Like, genuinely, he could do 50 goals this year.
Just in the Premier League?
I'd say all comps. What did he get in his first year?
It can break 50 this year in the Premier League. If for instance, if he plays 35 games, he should get 50 goals. I think that's a genuine target on what he's doing now. He's on like a 2 goals a game. He's on 2 goals a game in a minute. If he gets 4 more hat tricks at the end of the year and only scores 1 in a couple of games between that, he's still getting 5 games and 12 goals. You know, he can do that.
I mean, Liverpool just matched Erling Haaland today. Liverpool are tied joint scorers with Erling Haaland. Figure that shit out.
Yeah, that's mad. So if he does 50 goals in the Premier, he's 43 goals, and you're saying he's going to play 35, and he's already played 3. So what's that divided by 32? So yeah, he needs 1.34 goals a game. But that's the thing. Yeah, I know. No, but this is the thing. Yeah, this is the thing because I did when I'm doing this. Yeah, how many goals is it? How many goals is it? I'm doing what Pulpy's doing. Yeah, because I'm going right. Well, 50 goals sounds mad, but I'm pretty much banking that this guy's going to get 3 to 4 more hat tricks in the Prem. And if you do 3 to 4 more hat tricks, you know, you're at 12 goals extra on where he's already at. Then suddenly that average goals per game thing comes right down. So, yeah, mate, if he was to do 50 goals in the Premier League, oh my God. I mean, that has to be Ballon d'Or, man.
Even 40 would be spectacular.
Of course.
Don't forget the 6 goals that he's going to score against poor Slovan Bratislava as well when we come against them
True.
in the Champions League.
I was just
so it'll be a 6
2 of you.
goal.
They've jinxed it.
I was just draw then, yeah.
They're getting the Peterborough treatment, right?
The fun number to think about is all competitions goals because we've got more matches this year because of this new Champions League layout.
Yeah.
So if he's getting whatever 45 or 50, whatever the hell it is in the Premier League, and then throw in however many Champions League matches he starts,
It's going to be 70 games, right? It's going to be about 70 games this year.
Yeah. So I mean, he's not going to get the Messi number. That was 90 something.
Why not?
91 or something, yeah.
Because I don't think Pep would play him at
but that's
all.
the
Watch
calendar year,
you go away for Norway and score 7 in 2 games.
Yeah,
Well, didn't he score 9 once playing for Norway?
Yeah, it was an academy game, but yeah, he
Yeah.
did.
Oh,
But
children.
You got to start somewhere. Yeah.
yeah, because his record for Norway is insane as well. I think he's got 31 goals in 33 for Norway.
Yeah.
Because people keep on saying, people go, oh yeah, just because he's playing at City. No. He did it for Dortmund. He done it for
Done
Norway.
it everywhere.
Salzburg, he had a good hit rate.
people-
His hit rate at
Malmo,
Salzburg was good.
I think.
It's always been good, yeah.
Yeah.
If he stays
I
fit,
always
no,
think
if he
Mulder.
stays fit, he'll
Mulder.
easily goal against the end of the season, if not more.
People always give the it's of course he is because he's playing in Pep Guardiola's Manchester City.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
Sergio Aguero played in Pep Guardiola's Manchester City and didn't do this. Like it's the numbers that he's hitting.
Never
are
mind that.
just
Sergio changed his
insane.
game when Pep came in.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think I'm sure I saw a stat yesterday. One of the stats is that he's scored. I think it's only 6 less goals since he joined the Premier League than Everton have done in the entire time. And it's like, which is meant. Obviously, that says a lot about Everton as well. But like,
It's just Sean Dyche, baby. You know?
It's mad. He's genuinely. I said this yesterday, but he is like, if anybody embodies the sort of the idea that it will never be as good as this ever again, it's Haaland. Like we're never maybe we will see someone like him ever again, but probably not for Manchester City. Like it's just this is like once in a lifetime.
You know what, Joe? I don't think we will until football goes back from this sort of Harry Kane style. Because everyone wants a Harry Kane style striker now, where they can do everything. So all the players coming through the academy, if you take your kids to football, the coaches are telling the striker to drop deep and all this kind of shit. No coach is telling a striker just to stand in the box and just be an elite finisher no more. I mean, no. So I actually don't know if you're right. I don't think we will see another player like this until the game evolves again, and maybe we go back to having that elite level strikers.
Old field number 9s.
Because because the pulpit, I'll tell you something, I don't know if you guys noticed this as well, but you know his first, because I watched Haaland when he played for like Dortmund and that. I never really watched him that much, right? I remember within the first month of watching Haaland at City, the thing that got me was his movement in the penalty area. That's the thing, because usually that comes with age. I would say Karim Benzema, when he got older, his movement excelled. He went through the roof because he lost a bit of pace or whatever, and he became this elite sort of striker in the penalty area because he knew where to be. And then I remember watching Haaland, I was like, bro, this guy's like movement gets in the tap-ins. The ball doesn't just fall at his feet and he goes, all right, fucking hell, bang, goal. No, he moves around, he knows where to go. And I'm like, how is he doing this already?
He said yesterday, like his first and third goals yesterday come from him just perfectly holding that line on the last defender.
Yep.
So that when it comes away, like for the hat-trick one in particular, I thought, oh god, he's going to be offside here. But like you look at the replay, it's like he's held that run to absolute perfection. And the fact that he can do that whilst also being someone who can run at like 70 miles an hour if he decides to turn it on is a ridiculous combination to have.
Well, we all kind of like, we can all see it as fans and stuff, and whether you play the game or not, and see how good he is. But it's the praise you get from other professionals like Gary Lineker, for instance, one of the best strikers England ever produced, and that he's literally they wax lyrical about him being a striker, and they are saying he's got the perfect movement. He's already doing now what they were doing all their careers. He's doing it now.
I was just going to say that, Pulpy. Yeah. Like here in America, we've got Thierry Henry on Champions League duty, right? And without fail, Thierry Henry mentions Haaland's movement every time we play.
Yeah, that's what's getting him the goals. Look, everyone knows he can score as a bagsman, but he's in the right place at the right time, and it is literally the top people in the game are just saying. They've been saying it for years. These guys' movements on another level, and we've got the players that can find him. He's going to score. Pretty much 9 times out of 10, he's going to score.
Yeah, and probably this whole drop back thing that people talk about online is just ridiculous too, because if you want to talk about like an all-rounded striker, obviously Harry Kane is probably the first one that comes to mind that does that. But was Harry Kane doing that when he was 24? Haaland's 24 now. He wasn't doing it at that age. He'll grow into that. I think as Haaland gets older, we won't just see like necessarily a prolific striker who could bag 40 or 50 a season. You may see a more rounded sort of a striker in that who could probably bag maybe 25 or 30 goals, but he could end up with like a dozen assists every season as well too. For all
I
we know.
don't.
And for me,
I disagree.
I really
Pat.
hope not.
I don't. Yeah, and I agree with Joe. I don't want to see that. I don't want it. I don't want him to be changed, Pat. I want him to.
No.
I know he's. What he's good at is putting the ball in the back of the net. He is not a good footballer in terms of moving the ball around, and his touch on the ball isn't the best. I don't think he's 24 now, right? He's never gonna get that to a standard where he's anywhere near Harry Kane. So for me, I wouldn't even tell him to practice that. You know what I would tell him to practice? Heading the ball, because that's a weak area of his game. And he knows it.
Yeah,
He
his
said it
aerial game
himself.
needs to improve.
Yeah, instead of spending hours practicing through balls on the football pitch, don't do that. We've got Kevin De Bruyne for that. Tell you what, spend an hour heading the football in the back of the net, because that's an area of his game that he needs to
Just put on one of those padded
and he said
helmets.
that himself.
So you're saying he should go on loan to Everton for a year on Sean Dyche.
He'll end up like Muhammad
Dyche should mold
Ali,
him
man.
into Dyche. You know what Dyche should do? Dyche should just mold him into a
Poetry?
typical Northern striker. He goes, "Oh, I just seen he was born in Leeds, so I have to. All right, get rid of your Norwegianness. I'm going to turn you into a big northern bastard."
Yeah, but do you get what I'm saying? I don't want him to change. Like, why would we try and change a guy that we're talking about? Poulpy said he can get 100 goals this year. What did you say?
I said, what's Messi's record? 90. Why not?
91, I
So
think.
why
yeah.
not? Why do I need
Why
this guy dropping deep, playing the through balls, man? I don't want to see this, to be honest.
I think it
So,
says a lot that we all when we signed him, we all kind of thought, oh, what's his pressing like? Like, what's all this stuff like? Oh, do you know all this stuff that Pep expects of his forwards? And instead, what's happened is that Pep has just seen the absolute ridiculous goal scoring freak that he is, and just gone, nah, fuck that. We'll adapt to him, like, not the other way around. Like, we just basically built a team around making enough chances. I mean, to be fair, we were doing that anyway. The false 9 season was an absolute joke of a season in terms of looking at imagine what a striker could do in this team. But we've now perfectly built a squad that has one purpose and one purpose only, and that is to just give the ball to Erling Haaland in and around the penalty area. And that's what you need to do with a play like that. Like, you don't, as you've been saying, we shouldn't be trying to make him this different striker who can do, and to be fair, yesterday, his stuff like outside the penalty area was incredible. Like, it was probably one of his best performances.
Yeah, it
for
was.
like, all round. But I think we don't need to be I don't think we should be worrying too much about that. Like, worry about making the team better, serve him. Like, last season, not even last season, but the one before that as well. Even sometimes where you have too many games where you come away from it thinking like Haaland's there making runs and he's got 2 touches all game because just no one's finding him. Like, I'd rather we worked on minimizing the number of games where that happens, rather than worry about him coming to the halfway line to get a couple more touches and he gets
100%.
Like,
Yeah, you've got a big fucking goal scoring robot. Just let him run at everybody and get the ball near him and see what happens.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, he scores.
It's not that
Just
deep.
let that big machine run and just throw balls near him. That's all you got to do. It's pretty straightforward.
Now, check the names on this list as well, right? So basically, he's the only player. This is the top 50 goal scorers in Champions League history, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's the only player on the chat, and the chat's going to get so bored with me, guys. I speak about this all the time, but I think it's insane, and no one speaks about it apart from me. You know what I mean? Like, you understand the company that he's on this list with, and he's the only player that's got a goal per game of more than a goal per game. You know how mad that is? You know, crazy. Look at the names on this list, and none of them have got that ratio that he's got. And by the way, if he scores 10 goals in the Champions League this season, right, which he probably will do if he stays fit, he'll be in the top 10 goal scorers in Champions League history of all time. You know how mad that is?
That includes him playing for like Salzburg and Dortmund as well. Like, that's not even just he's been plugged into Manchester City for his whole career. Like, the guy's been doing this for teams that should be getting battered in the Champions. Well, certainly in the case of Salzburg, should be getting battered in the Champions League, and he's still putting up numbers like that in his whole career. It's mad. Yeah,
it's actually insane. I do bring that stat up every single day, but
how many has he got in the Champions League for us? Like, how many games and goals has he got for us in the Champions League? It's got to be well above 1 per game.
Yeah, I'll tell you
that.
You know what? I think it's a little bit
lower.
lower.
That Leipzig game where he scored 5 will have done him a lot of favours, won't it?
I just noticed the highest ratio after him was probably Gerd Muller, which is something for the younger generation. They got to realise just how damn good Gerd Muller was back in the day.
Yeah, the screen will have a bit of a fit here, but yeah, look at the Champions League. So for us, 12 in 11 in his first, 6 in 9 in his last one. So Yeah, he's actually a little bit. What is it?
Had a bad season last year.
So
Terrible
if anything,
season,
if anything, it's his
terms.
Dortmund and Salzburg numbers that are, that are
What
held
did he
him
do
out,
last year?
which is
Did
mad.
he? What happened last year for him then in the Champions League? So he fired 2 blanks in the first game against Red Star. Oh, he won't be happy with that. No goals against Red Star at home.
No,
And then he got.
That was when he was missing sitters for fun, wasn't it? That time. That's when I remember that Sheffield game around that time where he could have had a hat trick and he just got 1 goal at the end, and it was just.
This just means he's due.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. Okay, that's a Haaland talk. Right, final part of the show before we wrap it up, boys. Liverpool. Have we underestimated Liverpool as our title rivals? Because I can't lie, man, they looking a lot better than I thought they would. And again, they've only played 3 games, but does anyone here think that actually Liverpool might be our main title rivals, not Arsenal? Because I can't lie, boys. I look at Arsenal, not been impressed. The fans are rattled. The club's rattled. They're already making excuses. Excuse FC match day 3. That's what I say. Well, who do we think are the main title rivals for City this year? And can Liverpool challenge? What do we think? Pulpy, let me throw that at you, man.
I mean, I'm not writing Arsenal off. It's too early to write anyone off, really.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Well, there's one you can write off.
Yeah, Liverpool look good. They definitely.
Come on, guys. We've won a league position we've won a league from 13th spot. So just which is good because they're in 14th.
Liverpool look good today. They did. They look fat. They look like they can. They're fast. The build up plays. You know the direct. Especially today, like a couple of 1-touch in the middle and the direct.
Mm-hmm.
I still think they're susceptible at the back. I don't know. I mean,
yeah, I agree.
If we play like we are doing, we're not even out of 3rd gear, I guess. You know, I don't see any team being better than us over the course of the season. The way things have started, I think realistically, Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, that would be the only ones I think that would make the top 4 as it looks now. Tottenham are a bit poor. United are piss poor. You know, who else is there?
No. I
don't think Villa could last a distance, right? I think
for top 4. You don't think?
No.
I think Champions League might kill.
I think Newcastle having all their eggs in the Premier League basket will help them in terms of going for a top 4. And they've shown it. They've had a very solid start to the season. So I think only playing every 7 days will benefit them a fair bit.
I just look at it and think, like, to be honest with you, I just can't see anyone other than City winning the league. I look at Liverpool's transfer business or lack of transfer business and think it's appalling. And by the way, I don't know if you heard, apparently they've not even offered Salah a new contract.
Yeah.
So that's going to get real toxic now because their fans are going to be going sick saying, what the hell is going on? So that's about to
Doesn't that apply to Trent and I think Virgil as well? Van Dijk, they haven't received anything either.
Right. Okay. Well, that's.
I think Trent's a write-off now. I think he's off to Madrid next year. I think
all 3 of them have gone. I think all 3 of them have gone.
Yeah.
I think they're going to look at it and think we're going to get £500,000 off the wages here.
Yeah,
but I think
the thing with FSG is that they're going to look at. I mean, and this is probably why Salah hasn't had a contract offer yet. Is that they're going to look at resale value ultimately more than anything else, and they're looking at a guy who's on 350 grand a week. And let's be honest, his performances are not warranting a significant pay decrease at the moment. Like, he's ultimately the guy who their entire attack hinges on, really.
Yeah,
they've been trying to find someone to replace him for the last 2 or 3 years, and they can't. So if a new contract comes to the table for him, he's going to either ask for the same or more because Saudi is sniffing around him.
Yep.
And FSG are going to take one look at that and just go, no. So you can say he's gone. Trent is the one who I think they should just throw a blank check at and say, please just don't go. But I think that it's very well documented that he's good mates with Bellingham in it, and I think with Daniel Carvajal coming to the end of his career, it feels too perfect.
And we know Madrid love a free transfer, so they can slap on some signing on bonus.
And then the other one, Van Dijk, I think maybe Van Dijk stays because I think he's a talisman, and they just go, right, well, we're not going to sign the other 2 on a new deal. Let's put some extra budget into this guy. And I think they maybe just do that to save face, because I think if you lose all 3 of those in one summer, you are
and Alisson as well, potentially.
that's a very unserious transfer window in it for someone like for a club like Liverpool who want to. But for me on the Liverpool side of things, I think it's just they've not played like these first 3 games, and this isn't just like it's a little bit of a dig at United, but it's not. They haven't played anyone like massive yet. Like I'm not going to be worried until they play against someone who's like Arsenal or even a Chelsea or a Spurs and beat them, and then I'll be like, all right, yeah, cool. Like these are serious. But I think Ipswich, Brentford, and current United are not really teams that I should be looking at and thinking, wow, they're. And a lot of teams might say that about us. To be fair, that these wins at the start of the season aren't any indication that we're going to run away with the league or anything like that. But I think Liverpool are definitely they're surely a shoe in the top 4.
Start to the league, haven't they?
Yeah,
I mean, and then you've got Forest coming up, Bournemouth, Wolves, Palace.
Does anybody think with Liverpool that this international break has come at the wrong time for them? Because they have kicked off the season with a fair bit of momentum, and I don't know. Sometimes international breaks come at times that don't benefit teams that much. I could say the same thing about us too. We don't know what could come back. What could come back from an international break. But right now I think Arne Slot's just getting a good tune out of those players. Those players look like as if they just took everything from Klopp and just transferred it into, just a branch off of what Arne Slot wants to do. They're just, if anything, they're actually probably playing the way I saw him play against United. Their pressing was even more psychotic than what it was under Jurgen Klopp. They were rapid in press. But
sorry, go on.
Sorry, no, you're right, mate. Go.
I was going to say, is there maybe an element of, I think Newcastle fans, this is like a completely different sort of scale, but Newcastle fans felt this with Steve Bruce after he took over Rafa Benitez. They were defensively solid for quite a while just because they had Rafa Benitez mode still logged in. Like, are Liverpool just kind of still having a Jurgen Klopp hangover, and that this will eventually fade away when they don't like?
I don't know. I would go on, Joy. I'll let you
on the broadcast here. We've got Tim Howard and it was Robbie Mustoe today, but they were talking about what Slot's done is he hasn't removed kind of all that Klopp craziness from the players. He's allowed them to continue to, fuck it, go press like crazy. I don't care. Go get them. They're just going to be more in control when they do have the ball. It's not going to be throw everybody forward and make the most of it. And I think that's what you're seeing is because if you watch Liverpool, it's definitely slower. It's not this, heavy metal football thing that Klopp used to talk about. So I think
measured madness, right? Isn't it?
Yeah. Because they still press on the front foot, and there's the counter press and all of that, but they retain their shape a lot better, I think, than they used to. When they have the ball, it's definitely more controlled. There's a clear idea of who's meant to be where. I think Gravenberch coming into the middle is huge compared to Endo being the 6 last year. That guy's just way better on the ball, and I think positionally he's better. He's more athletic. He's got everything about him is better than Endo.
On the number 6 role, Joey, because Gravenberch isn't naturally a number 6.
I think so,
and I think it helped yesterday too because United just basically shot themselves in the foot on multiple occasions. Thank you, Casemiro.
They're just bad.
I think Casemiro, but the
did he cut himself?
Exactly.
Different meaning.
Heard that on
that's on me. That's on me.
Giggle out of that. Now, look, I just think that that seems to be the way that they're going to go. They may try and rotate between Endo and Gravenberch, but it is a big question to ask any team when you haven't got a recognised 6 at all, really, or one that just doesn't have the elite level experience of playing a number 6. So I think in the long term, it is going to help. It is going to hurt them a little bit. But right now, I think they're just fair play. They're taking advantage of the momentum they've got right now. Mm-hmm. But again, once we get to every 3 days, that's when we really start to see who's in it for real.
Well, I'm curious to see what happens with Trent playing inverted a lot of times and coming in next to Gravenberch, and McAllister maybe pushing a little bit higher, and Szoboszlai is way up next to Jota half the time. Very curious to see what happens when they play someone that can actually counter.
Yeah.
Because it's not Brentford, it's not Ipswich. United
I think would give them a lot of headaches. West Ham.
Well, today, that first 10 minutes,
the way they count is really.
Well, United came out fast this morning.
Over 10 minutes.
Yeah,
there's not.
They came out of the blocks.
If you'd only watched the first 10 minutes of that game and then you saw the final result, you'd have think, how did that happen?
Yeah, Well, I think that's all United has.
Mhm.
They've got they can go at it for 10 minutes, and that they're going to hope to get a lead.
And if it
and
doesn't
then,
work, where do we
I
go
don't
from
know,
here? Yeah.
maybe bunker in, but once those are done and Liverpool then has control of the ball, and you could say this about anybody, I think, that plays United, they haven't got shit. Casemiro's passed it.
Oh,
De Ligt got brought off early today. That Xerxes guy, kind of like we talked about earlier with strikers that are dropping deep and all and trying to pick the ball up and everything. If he would stay high, there was 2 or 3 chances that he could have scored, but he was 30 yards from goal.
I think he's trash.
I don't disagree, but I'm just going off of like the story
I think
is.
they bought Rasmus Haaland 2.0. I think their recruitment strategy at United.
Can you have a Haaland 2.0?
No, I think probably not. To be honest, I just don't think he's a good player.
It's the kind of strategy where, I mean, if you're going to some of the better clubs in Europe and buying people that can't get in their team, they're a 4th or 5th choice player in a certain position, then what makes you think they're going to come to your club when you're not playing well at all to make you stand out any better?
You hyper buying. Sorry, Bobby. I was going to say, you hyper buying Munich defender who couldn't even get in ahead of Eric Dyer.
I thought he played well today, though. To be fair,
So,
I give him
I don't know. He looks like a stiff idiot to me.
Really?
Yeah,
he's
just like a fridge freezer, like Maguire. Just honestly, I tell you what, if we ever play the derby game and they've got them 2 at centre half, oh god, they'll get murdered.
Yep.
They'll get murdered against worst teams.
If you put Jeremy Doku up against him, he's just going to be passing the Dutchie on the left hand side.
True.
Go on,
hey, so my main feeling after 3 games, 3 match weeks or whatever, having watched everybody, is more about us and the fact that, or the feeling that last season we didn't have a great record against the other sort of big 6 or whatever. I think we can beat these this season. That's my main feeling. Like, I'm not looking at anybody and going, I'm dead worried about playing them. I feel even Arsenal, Liverpool, I think we'll beat them this season as opposed to last. So I'm feeling really optimistic after what I've seen so far.
Well, we play at Anfield at the end of November. I think usually by late November we start to click. That momentum going into the Christmas chaos fixtures and everything. That's when we really start.
They've got Real Madrid 3 days before that.
Yeah.
Did
anybody see Arsenal's fixtures for this month?
They've been screwed, by the way. They play on Thursday. Have you seen that? They play away on the date. So they play on Thursday night.
Thursday night.
Really?
What?
Yeah.
Champions League on a Thursday night.
Yeah,
isn't that Europa?
Yeah, bro. So we
So
play.
they're playing some Champions League fixtures.
Game's gone
on Europa. Yeah, game's dead.
I'm sure it's.
Yeah, they've got Atalanta on Thursday the 19th.
Yeah, so basically,
and then
we play
us on Sunday.
Yeah, we play home.
Do we get any Thursday fixtures?
Maybe, but on that week, we play at home the day before they do. They play away in Italy the day after, and then they play at City, obviously at the weekend. So they've been proper screwed.
They've got a brutal run.
I didn't realize these were now Thursday games. I didn't realize that was a thing.
So they come back from the break. It's Spurs away, Atalanta away, City away, Leicester at home, and then PSG at home.
Oh my god!
Do you know what? I think Gasparini and Atalanta, they're going to press them off the park.
Oh yeah. Yep.
I'll never forget the way Atalanta played, because I was in Belgium watching the Europa final, and the way that they just pressed Alonso's Leverkusen off the pitch was absolutely unbelievable. It reminded me of I think everybody might remember this. Remember we played them, I think, in 2019 in the Champions League.
Yeah.
That first 25 minutes, they absolutely ran through us. And it wasn't until they started to slow down. We slowed down their tempo of play. We started to sort of.
I remember saying, I've never seen a team ever do that to us, bro. Never seen a team do that to us in that first 20 minutes. It was insane.
What they did against Leverkusen reminded me of what they did in that first 20, 25 minutes. But they did it a full 90 to an undefeated Leverkusen side.
Joey, read them fixtures out again.
They're going to be deadly. Yeah.
So they've got. I was just looking ahead into November too. They get dicked again. So they come back from the break. They've got Spurs away on the 15th. Then it's away on a Thursday to Atalanta, away to City the following Sunday on the 22nd, at home against Leicester on the 28th, and then at home against PSG on the 1st of October. And then they go into November and they hit another run like that where they've got Liverpool at home, Newcastle away, Inter away, Chelsea away.
So
They're getting what we had last year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I was just about to say that. If we look at them fixtures like their City fixtures, we'd just say, well, that's just business as usual for us. I'd expect us to win every one of them games. Whereas look at Arsenal's side of it now, they're probably thinking, oh my God, look at this fixtures we've got.
The thing,
We're going to win all these games.
I think
I mean, that's the mentality difference, right?
the thing is with Arsenal-
Poppy, you're right. You know, another really good one was it was at the 21-22 season. Remember, I think it was around about this time, maybe a month from now. We had that stretch of fixtures at 3 games in a week where I think we had to play Chelsea away, PSG away, and Liverpool away. I think we came away. We beat Chelsea, we lost to PSG, which in reality just turned into an early dead rubber because we won the group anyway. And then we had that really, really good 2-2 draw against Liverpool at Anfield. I think what Arsenal have to look at, they're going to have to look at that stretch of fixtures coming up now, similar to what we did. And the question is, how are they going to handle themselves? Are they going to be able to handle themselves as well as we did when we played those 3 fixtures? Because I seriously doubt that they'll be able to.
I think that actually with Arsenal as well, they are like, I know that what happened yesterday is very, very funny. But like, but if Declan Rice doesn't get sent off, like they don't lose that game or don't drop points.
Now 100%, Joe. But now they've got to go to the North London derby without Declan Rice as well.
Them not having Rice for that game is going to be.
Timber could be injured as well.
Yeah, and I just think that they're in a position where they're basically looking. For me, they look like they've just picked up where they left off last year before that. Like they haven't looked like they've skipped a beat at all. And I think that obviously they like as Joey's pointed out there with those those fixture runs, they can get screwed by the fixtures. And obviously not having Rice for the North London derby is very much not ideal. But I still think that Arsenal look by far and away the second best team in this league.
Yeah, I said they'll be our biggest, they'll be our closest rivals again.
They need Marino fit tomorrow.
Yeah. I think
and he was in a sling yesterday, so that's not ideal.
He's broke his shoulder, hasn't he, or his arm?
Yeah.
One of the two.
Yeah.
So he's
out for a while.
So he's
at least dislocated
for a bit.
Yeah. Man, it's crazy. I mean, the next 2 games are absolutely
That's too
huge.
bad.
And if we win our next 2 games, then we'll be 8 points above them. If they lose against Spurs,
I still wouldn't read too much into that.
If we were 8 points above them,
if we were 8 points behind after 7 games, I wouldn't
care.
They're so fragile, though.
Yeah.
Did anyone mention what Arsenal's fixtures were at the end of October as well? Did anybody see that stretch as well, late October into early November?
No.
Oh yeah.
So they got Liverpool home, Newcastle away, Inter away, Chelsea away.
Yeah. We went
3 days.
Yeah, that's a madness.
That's mental.
It's crazy. The next 2 games, I think, are huge. And if we can have an 8-point lead, personally, I think that's massive. It
would be a huge psychological thing, but I wouldn't read too much into it. It takes us to draw 2 games in a row, and then they win their 2, and it's literally down to 1.
That's why it would be big for me, I think, though, because psychologically is where we absolutely have it over Arsenal, because we've seen from the last couple of years that when they're in the lead, they're a team that will inevitably shit themselves at some point. Whereas when we're when we're in the lead, like we don't do it. We don't drop. How many times have we got into a title race being a significant distance ahead of another? Obviously, we're not talking like October time, but we get into the back end of a season, like from February, March onwards. If we're in the lead, we win. And
100%.
If they are 8 points behind, they know they've got to win every game to end the season to even have a chance.
That's way more pressure.
It's a mentality issue, man. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, the Arsenal fans don't like it when you call the mentality out. But at the end of the day, you've seen their mentality when they come to the Etihad last season and shit themselves and sat on the edge of the penalty area like a relegation threatened side. They don't have what it takes. They've got so many mistakes and that. You know what I mean? Where they live with winning. When they did it against West Ham, they are a fragile football club. You know what I mean? And so is the fan base. You know what I mean? So with that, we'll end the stream. Listen, people, big up to everyone. Piplup says we need someone to take corners. They're so bad. Yeah, listen, I'm not a massive fan of
Savio's your corner man.
He does all great.
All right. Well, I was going to say I would do it, but never mind.
Not like that, bro. Nah, listen.
Just pay me $50,000. I'll show up 4 times a match.
I
hit one near post, not beat anybody.
Joey, we don't need that. It's okay. No, listen. I actually tweeted this yesterday. I had a lot of people in the comments saying, No, Kevin De Bruyne's all right. For me, it's more of a personal preference. I don't like the floaty style. I like a fucking whipper, you know what I mean? Whip one in. I remember when Van Persie used to take it for United, or Harry Kane took it for England at some point. I like a fast-paced, corner, not one of these floaty
Ward
ones.
Prowse corner just whips in.
Yeah, man. You know what I mean? Because like sometimes he'll float one in.
Prayers
and
up to James Ward-Prowse.
The person he's available. We should have signed him.
Just for corner.
Swapped him with Nunes. You know. Am I joking? It's a joke, chat. Right, guys, make sure you're dropping a like on the stream. Make sure you guys are checking out Noisy, the Noisy Noses podcast. Obviously, Joey and I butchered that, didn't I? Well, can you just do it? Maybe you could, Mo. You could do it.
Are you taking the fucking piss?
That was me.
Yeah. Mo, can you just tell me about the podcast because I can't speak.
Yeah, so Joey, lad up here, mustache and that. Ted Lasso.
No.
Dollar General Ted Lasso, or what's it called over there? Poundland.
Another white boy with a mustache.
We do a weekly podcast. It's called Noisy Neighbors. It's on all the podcast apps. So that's our main gig.
Except for one.
Except one.
Yeah.
We've got to speak about that.
Those guys.
Matt, you did a post match last night, didn't you, with the lads on Mancunian Way? Anything else?
Yeah. Bevo came on for a bit of a chin wag about post match West Ham and everything. So that's up for everybody to see. I believe Martin will be back tomorrow for a nice little sort of main road memories dedication to Sven Göran Eriksson. I know he was a main road, but he was a big part of City's modern history, the modern history of City as well too. So stick around, listen to that. Should be good. Otherwise, usual, we're on Thursday night chats every week, so we should be on it in some capacity later this week. Probably looking for ways to keep ourselves occupied during this international break. But there'll be plenty to talk about because we've got some crucial fixtures coming up when not the business end, but when we start swimming towards the deep end of the season.
Sweet, nice one. Pulpit, enjoy the 2 weeks international break, my man.
Yeah.
You probably won't because it's absolutely dead.
I know what I actually quite like enjoying international football. I always have. Yeah.
You what?
Honestly, yeah.
Genuinely. You want the wind up?
I'm not genuinely, right? It's waned a bit in the last 18 months because of Southgate Gate and all that sort of stuff. But I was always an international over a domestic. Always.
I mean, if it's a tournament, yeah, but not
always. I used to love it. Honestly, I used to love that watching midweek games in the Euros, the Euro qualifiers at Wembley under the lights, mate. Honestly. Yeah.
Fair play.
On crap now, honestly.
I wish I did. Because I would be bored out of tree for 2 weeks. But
actually, Poppy, I just had a look at our fixtures, and we've got one here in Australia, but it's up on the Gold Coast, and it's against Bahrain. Oh, that's quite.
Yeah, that is. And Joe,
anyway,
how many podcasts you going on this week, mate?
Contrary to popular belief, just the one City Ramble. The rest of them won't have me back. So I think we're just doing daily podcasts. Get on there. I'm presuming I'll be on one this week. So all good.
Sweet. Okay. Well, nice one for jumping on, fellas. Appreciate it, guys. Let us know your thoughts and comment. If you're watching this back on the replay, give us your thoughts down below in the comment section. Make sure you're smashing a like on the stream as well. I'll send you over to the second channel. We've got a Saeed Reacts video out there. It's match week 3, and we're on Saeed Reacts number 2 of the season. So it's going to be a long season for him. I'll send you over there now. Big up to all the super chatters. Big up to everyone that's liked, subscribed, and we'll catch you in the next one. See you later.